Hello there, all. Knives Tale here, bringing you a different kind of review today. We're talking about still a knife, but a pocket fixed blade knife. In this case, the Artisan Cutlery Seasnake, designed by Mike Emler. This knife has micarta scales, which are actually quite nice. They feel very good. It is a full tang construction sandwich. There's Mike Emler's logo, and this particular version is in S35VN. This is a limited edition version. That's a bit more expensive for the S35, but there are some base versions, and honestly, I'd even say that the base real budget version of these are probably the better buy. They're just good. They're cheap. They're AARPM 9. No, ARRPM 9. I always want to double the A's when it's the R, which is Artisan Cutlery's proprietary knife steel blend, which is who knows what it is. There was a whole thing about who knows exactly what this stuff is. But it is good steel. So that's all that really matters. I'm not too sure about how we're going to do a review on this thing, but I guess for the simple consistency's sake, we'll do just a comparison to size, and that would be the Civivi Elementum, which is open about the same, just a hair shorter, just a little bit shorter. But that's with the sheath. Without it, the Seasnake is shorter. I mean, it really comes down to, are you okay with a knife that doesn't fold going into your pocket? And from what I've experienced, even larger fixed blades like this with an ulti clip attached to their Kydex sheath or whatever sheath they have, or maybe some have little loops or something to hold them in your pocket, even though they take up more room, they don't really get in the way, at least not in my experience. We will do a quick weight here. Yeah, 2 ounces. With the sheath, I think it's something like 2.6 on the dot. Okay. It's not heavy. Not in the slightest. An advantage, I guess, of being a fixed blade, there's no extra hardware or liners or anything like that to add weight, and so it's not only pretty thin, but it's pretty light. Thickness is 392 thousandths, so pretty thin in the hand. Blade stock is 98 thousandths-ish. And behind the edge that's a little low. Come on, go up a little bit. I need to get you a little bit higher on behind the edge. And this, no, that's sliding up now. I'm gonna call that 14 thousandths behind the edge. It's pretty thin. It's not ultra thin, but it's a full flat grind. It's got really thin blade stock. It's not thick behind the edge. It's got really good geometry in general. And it's still got it's not hollow grind, super ultra thin, but I mean, it's a fixed blade. You want a little bit more strength anyway out of them, typically. So this is a cutter. It's a slicer. It performs great. It's a Wharncliffe blade shape, and it's great for the pull cuts. I mean, you're gonna have no issues with this thing. It will slice. It will cut. No problem. I suppose I can mention that the hardware is D8, yes. You probably will never have to interact with the scales or take them off or do anything. I suppose you could make your own, but that's if you want. Mix and match for if you get cheaper ones, but I mean, there's no real reason to do that. So, there's not a whole lot to say about a pocket fixed blade. They're simple, and this one is well designed. It is ergonomic, it is comfortable in the hand, I can get a full 4-finger grip, even choke back, but the choil out gives me way more than enough room to get, I mean, I guess some people with big hands would get a 3-finger, but they always have the choil to choke up into and get your 4-finger grip, and it's reasonably comfortable. It's a little thin up in here, I'm not going to lie, but it's not uncomfortable in any way. This is very comfortable. Just if you really want to go full on ham, push this through some crazy nonsense, this is definitely something you can do. It's not a full-size fixed blade, so I'm not saying beat on the spine or any of that stuff. But for in the place of something like a pocket knife that folds, this works as a good EDC fixed blade. The sheath is Kydex, and most of the time there's no rattle, but if I just sort of jam it in kind of at a different angle, yeah, I can get some rattle. And it just flew across the room. Alright, that's staying in because that makes me look like an idiot. Gotta leave that in. Most of the time there's no rattle. That may vary for yours, but especially with the budget versions, it's not the biggest deal. You're not paying hundreds of dollars and getting a rattly, funky blade or anything like that. Quality and execution is good, especially for its price point. The price point is, on this one, for the S35 limited edition, $120. It's not bad. S35 and all that. My better pick would still be, honestly, the budget version of this, which is only $40 for an uncoated version and $50 for the PVD version that has the black blade like this. They are in the AR RPM 9 steel, as I mentioned, and yeah, they're cheap, they're easy, you can throw them about anywhere you need them for a fixed blade or just a knife. What it all really comes down to is, do you want to consider carrying a pocket fixed blade? Have you ever considered carrying a pocket fixed blade? Have you ever tried it? I was on the fence of it in the beginning, but yeah, with an ulti-clip attached to this thing, I found that it just doesn't really take up that much more space. I don't notice it that much more. It's not a huge handle sticking out, it's just about that. I guess about there. You can just sort of right inside the edge of your pocket is usually where this, you grab this thing and you just pop it off. Especially at this size, it's not obtrusive in any way. And it gives you, I guess, the certainty of the fixed blade, the deftness of a very light sort of utilitarian blade that is not something you have to worry about ever malfunctioning in any sort of way. I mean, you can be harder on this than most pocket knives. I'm not saying you should be hard on this particular one because, I mean, it is still a very small, very thin knife, but you don't have to worry about some sort of lock failure or anything like that. And it does offer a slightly different kind of experience to the standard folding knife. And that's really my point for this video. It's just sort of, hey, it's out there, it can be done. The ulti clips cost like $10, $11. I'll even link one down below. And it's just something to give a shot or give consideration to. If you carry a knife regularly, maybe you'd also like carrying something like this. It's lighter. It mostly disappears, even though it doesn't fold. And I suppose if you have live somewhere where there's strict regulations on folding pocket knives, maybe there's not as strict regulations on just a standard knife. That might be something too. I mean, if I don't know Europe's knife laws, but I know they have a lot of non-locking knife laws. Well, this doesn't lock, so that might fit. That might work. I don't know. Basically, I'm just saying that I like the occasional pocket fixed blade. I have a couple. And they offer a slightly different experience, and they offer certain characteristics that can be quite nice, particularly weight, for the size of what you're getting, usually. I mean, of course, you can go with a big, giant, thick crowbar, but you do you, I guess. You might just want to go with a crowbar at that point. So yeah, this is recommendable. I'm going to stick it down below as a link to just the base version and the Artisan Cutlery website. Check out Mike Emler. He has a YouTube channel. He does nice stuff too. He's more experienced than I am. Shout out to him. I've watched his stuff. I've participated in his lives. I'm actually someone who bought him a didgeridoo in a small box didgeridoo for some reason. He doesn't use it nearly enough, but it sounds horrible, so that's why. So yeah, consider carrying a pocket fixed blade if you haven't. It might get around certain lulls. It's light. It's useful. Check out Mike Emler. That's all. Thanks for watching if you did. See you in the next one.